Okay, let me do one more little update. This is still I'm waiting for the rain band to let up a little bit because you saw the potholes that I have to go through here. And then I'll take the ride back to Flower Bluff. There was just a few more news things that I saw. I catch the news here at my daughter's house. You know, I just posted a link about 20 minutes ago. There's various titles I could give to this. The Corpus Christi media cover-up of the law enforcement officer who was arrested today in South Texas as what is described as a serial killer of women. That was on a news site. It's a legitimate story I'm not making up. The local media, as of my last check, meaning KIII, KCTV, Caller Times, and all of them, do not want to cover that because it is a law enforcement officer who was arrested earlier today right in this region called South Texas for what is believed to be a serial killer of women in South Texas. The sheriff, I forget his name. This city is one you saw on video where I walked through, which is Laredo, Texas. He's a Border Patrol agent who was on the run. They found some bodies, and he was accused of murdering at least 4 women here in South Texas. The sheriff described the Border Patrol agent who was fleeing, who was apprehended earlier today, as a serial killer. Okay? That should be at least a news story on one of the local media sites. Are they that incompetent that an independent blogger who KRS News has an ad referring to independent bloggers as fake news? The woman's name on KRS News who has that ad is Stephanie Jimenez. Sometimes in the Northeast we used to say Jimenez. I believe that's her name. But she has a news saying, in a time where bloggers are telling you fake news, you can trust us to tell you real news. Where is that story? Where is the street story? Okay, another one that I just saw on CNN. The case of Botham Jean, the Christian man who was shot and murdered by a Dallas cop. Amber Geiger, the Dallas police officer, who I wrongfully said the other day was charged with manslaughter, that charge has now been removed from her. And she is on paid vacation right now. It's called administrative leave. As far as I understand, she's getting paid and she's not at work. That's administrative leave. She entered into this young black Christian man's apartment in Dallas last week. She parked on the wrong floor of her apartment building in Dallas, got off duty. I just saw a video of her on CNN. She was pacing back and forth. I know who this truck is. But she mistakenly thought it was her apartment, but it was the apartment of this man called Botham Jean, this Christian man. And when she said that the door of her apartment was open, but the door was not, according to witnesses, the door was not open. And then she said as she went in, she saw what she believed to be an intruder, was a young black Christian man, and he did not obey her commands. Do you know how racist that sounds to me? That you can be a black man in Texas, and if a white officer enters your apartment mistakenly or illegally and can command you something, and if you do not obey the commands, you will be shot. Now, whatever command she gave him in his own apartment, he didn't, I guess, answer sufficiently or obey sufficiently. And so she shot him. I saw the bullet hole, the video on CNN. And the thing. Then she realized at some point that she was not in her apartment. She was on the wrong floor. And she also called 911. She was in uniform, off duty. But witnesses have said that they heard a woman banging on a door right before the gunshots and saying, "Open this door." But her testimony to her own Dallas PD is the door was open. Now, if you're lying now, I just saw also on CNN that the officers now entered the apartment of the dead black man and said they found marijuana. It's questioned whether they had a warrant to even enter his apartment to investigate, to find stuff. The parents of Botham Jean, who was a Christian man, said they are now trying, and the lawyer says they're trying to smear their son as a black man with the whole stereotype of a drug black kid. They removed the manslaughter charges on Amber Guyger because the Texas Rangers requested that she not be charged. Yet, I thought she was charged and out on bond. Oh no. That's number 2 for Texas. I'm going to make my right. I think the rain let up enough. When we talk about real news, or we talk about perspective on things, I'm checking all the news channels. I saw MSNBC. A former Fox person, I forget her name. I was surprised. Now, she was fired or left Fox on the settlement. A.B. Stoddard. I have not seen her in a long time. Now she's on MSNBC and has to comment something about Trump. And as she was commenting about Trump, talked about the most criminal, corrupt, and so forth. And I think she left under questionable circumstances from Fox News. So if you're going to have people comment on whether it's you don't want to cover the story of the officer, Border Patrol agent, law enforcement, who is out accused now as a serial killer of women in Laredo, Texas, which is right. Laredo is like us. This is called South Texas. Did you just see the streets? This is not a barrio. This house next door just sold for, it's got the for sale sign, but my daughter said I think they sold it maybe $130,000 or something like that. My daughter's house was about the house across the street, that was like $150,000 home, because my daughter was looking at that before they bought that. So you're talking about a street where the homes are valued at, $150,000. And did you see the street? This is the street where I just showed you the flood. What community do you have people paying these types of taxes? And yet it's like a barrio. That's a city street you're looking at. It's a disgrace that my son-in-law had to try to fix it himself. Okay? This would be the third one today. My friend Rick, who died. I got another text from another friend who told me, again, they found Rick dead at the turnaround in Flower Bluff, where if you see the videos I ever made with Rick, you'll see them again in the future. That's the turnaround where I hung out with Rick. They don't know if it's a homicide now, or they don't know because of death. Because Rick was homeless, I don't think they'll ever know. The death of the girl that took place on the road right back here called Slough Road, about a mile that way. That's unsolved. Brenda something, dead on that road, right where, not too far from where my daughter lives. All right, let me just do this last update. I'll post all these later. I want you to see that link. Those of you that see this video later, I'm not sure what I'm going to title it. I'm going to try to upload it right now. Either the local media is so incompetent that a top story, meaning right in this region, the sheriff of a local city right around this region, Colorado, Texas, said he arrested a serial killer that was a law enforcement officer. Stuff like that makes movies. But I read that on a national media site and not a peep out of the local media. And do you know if they know about it? If they do not know about it, that shows you how behind the job they are. But if they know about it, that also shows you they don't want you to see what it's like here. They prefer you to see a different view of what's going on in South Texas, okay? But I'm going to take a motorcycle ride as soon as I upload this.